Well, guys, like the sketchy merchant at the beginning of the show, I offered you dark powers, and you willingly accepted. In fact, the response to this offer was much more than I've ever received inside of any video. I'll accept some responsibility, but I honestly didn't expect such eager willingness to delve into the dark arts. Now, this video isn't about Horcruxes or ritual sacrifice or raising the dead. It's actually about something far more dangerous. SQL. Before you laugh and call me melodramatic, let me lay out some of the risks here. You could unintentionally change data in one or two or all of your records. You could shove data in a field where it doesn't go, or you could wipe out all the data in a table. Poof, gone. All that being said, a person could easily claim that any of those things could happen with regular magic or programming. And they would be right to a certain extent, but Odoo protects you a bit when you're just playing around in Python. SQL gets around most of those protections. But you did ask for it, so I'm not going to go into a full cautionary tale here, but just know that you need to be extremely careful when using SQL. Now, with all these warnings, you may rightly ask, Andrew, why would you teach us something so dangerous? Don't you love us? First off, yes, I do love you and I want you to be safe. But I also think SQL isn't as bad as a lot of people say, and there are some huge benefits to knowing how to use it. So let the downvotes and the unlikes roll in. I'm teaching you anyway. So as you know, Odoo is built on a PostgreSQL database, and we can actually push some commands to that SQL database using a special function in Python. Now, the example I'm providing here is fairly limited, but anything you could do with a SQL server normally, you can push through this function that I'm providing you. So just make sure that it's formatted correctly, and it should work for you. But be careful. I've seen people create entire backups of a model using SQL, but we're not going over that here. So let me present to you our case that we're going to be using here. A lot of times people accidentally push accounting entries, or more specifically, journal items to the wrong account. In a normal situation, we'd have to reset every single journal entry to draft, if we could, and then we'd have to change the account on each of those journal items. What we're going to do instead here is we're going to use SQL and say, for this record, change the account ID to this account ID. For this, we're going to use a very simple where we say that the ID of the record that we want to change is equal to the record ID. If you're still a little bit cautious with SQL, this is the best way to approach it because we're saying only change something on this record. Don't do a sweeping change. Start here. Definitely encourage that. So here we are in Odoo. We've got our journal items up. We're going to go ahead and duplicate our tab. And we're going to go into server actions here. Oh, I need to be in developer mode to get to server actions. So we're going to go to server actions here. We're going to create a new one and we're going to say update account. And we're going to do this on journal items and we're going to execute code here. And we're going to put in for record in records. So that's for every record that we've selected here. And we're going to say account ID equals, and we're going to set the ID of the account that we're going to change everything to. So let's go ahead and duplicate this. And we're going to go in and look at our chart of accounts real quick. Okay, where are our chart of accounts? Right there. And we're going to come into this and say, okay, really everything that went here should have gone to current assets. So let's view this and let's look at this real quick and say the ID is 1. That's easy enough. So we're going to set up a SQL statement that pushes every one of these journal items that we select to this account. 101000 current assets. And we're going to create a little variable here called SQL string. And then we're going to grab our code in. Okay, so we have env.cr.execute, and that allows us to execute a SQL string. And what we're doing here with our SQL string is we're updating the table account move line, which if we look over here is account.move.line. You have to change out the periods with underscores, okay? And then we're going to set the field account ID right here, you see. If I go into developer mode, we'll be able to see that better. Account underscore ID, and we're going to set it as, and we need to put a string in here because we're concatenating it. So str around this, and we're putting account ID, and then we're continuing our string where, and we're going to say the ID, so the record ID equals, and then we throw in a string of record dot ID. Okay, and we're going to make sure, okay, we've got an unmatched guy right there, so this is string that, okay, we're going to save. Now you may not be perfectly comfortable with what's going on here, so I'm going to go ahead and share this code in the description, just so you can copy and paste if you want to. Okay, so who's ready for some dark magic? Make sure to create your contextual action. Now I'm not looking to make a ton of sense with this example. It's just meant to be illustrative. So we've selected the first 20 records, and we're going to go to actions and update account. Okay, and you see very, very quickly, this came through and updated all of these accounts to the account ID we wanted it to set it to. So what are the benefits of doing it this way? Well, for me, there are three main benefits to using SQL. The first, and this isn't really a small one, is speed. If we're wanting to make a change and make it quickly and not wait forever, SQL is the fastest way to do it. Secondly, and this kind of goes along with the speed, you don't have to go through all the checks that Odoo normally performs on your changes. So if it says, hey, you normally can't put this account here, well, SQL goes right around that, and you don't have to worry about it. Lastly, and again, this is tied into the speed, none of the other automated actions, or really any of the actions that Odoo has built in, get triggered by this change. So there's a bit of dark magic for you. Please, please, please be careful, because SQL can be very destructive, but at the same time, it's a powerful tool in your belt if you use it correctly. If you have any further questions about SQL or potential use cases, please feel free to drop it in the comments. But as always, good luck, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.